maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nick is here. What'd you call him earlier?
Yeah, he had a name. He said a name.
Can you hear Nick?
I said you look like a big swimming pool. You look like a big swimming pool over there. I thought it was a big swim.
All right. Should I tell the people what you called me the second week that I ever watched you?
Don't hang that over my head.
Track record here.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with variety and work assignments. So there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com. Visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back. Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
John Henry's Plumbing.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that, options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert, Enrique Alvarez Clary. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How was the weekend?
It was good.
You had a scrimmage, Husker red-white scrimmage on Saturday.
Red-white scrimmage for volleyball, and learned a lot.
There's a lot of questions, not in the bad way, with Husker volleyball.
Yeah.
There's a lot of curiosities.
It's a very deep team, so the questions in who's going to start at what position aren't bad. It's not like, oh, well, you have one good option and one bad option, and you really hope that this is the no, like they're all good. They're all great.
Without a senior.
But yeah, no seniors at all. Pretty sure we, and by we, I mean the volleyball media, have all come to an agreement on who the setter is going to be.
Okay.
And it's Bergen Riley, the freshman. Just looked so much smooth. And look, it's hard to say that because just do the rest of the intro and then we'll get into volleyball.
Okay, 402-464-5685.
I have a lot to say.
The Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are both open for you guys the entire show today, as well as our Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and then Allo channel 9:51 for you guys as well. Always shout out to Empire Netting and Fence for their support of the happy hour and of 93.7 The Ticket. Before we get back into volleyball, Rico,
so I have a lot.
No, and that's fine. We're going to get to it. We're also going to be joined by Lincoln Arneal tomorrow
to talk volleyball.
We have Steve Mark of Inside Nebraska today at 1:30. Before we get into that, Rico, I went to Micromania on Saturday night.
Yeah. Right across the street from where I was.
Yeah, right across the street from where you were.
Shout out to the Icebox.
And I didn't know what to expect going in, but when I walked in,
it wasn't what you expected.
They were hitting people with trash can lids.
Oh, perfect.
I was like, okay, now we're getting into something I can watch.
I'm in.
Okay, so we're good. So
just immediately.
We sat down in our seats, and it was a great time. Huge shout out to Lori Crocker, the president of Lincoln Stars, for providing tickets, and shout out to everybody involved. It was definitely one of those things, like I said, where I didn't know what to expect going in, but when I left with the group that I was with, we were like, all right, yeah, we'll go again if it comes next year or whatever happens. So it definitely is. It's definitely an entertaining show. Highly recommend trying to find a show for Micromania here in the near future. So anyway, let's get back to volleyball here.
Okay. I was across the street from Micromania.
Yes.
I was
yes,
at
you
Bob
were.
Vanny Sports Complex, watching the red-white scrimmage. And as I said, pretty sure we came to a consensus. I don't know. I don't want to speak for all of them, but I'm pretty confident in that Bergen Riley is going to be the starting setter once opening day gets here for Nebraska volleyball. But it's hard to say that because the teams, John Cook told us afterwards that this is pretty much the teams that went blow for blow in a like practice scrimmage that they had, and he thought that it was really good, so that's how he split them up. But when you look at the red team, which had Bergen Riley as their setter, she was setting to Merritt Beeson, the transfer from Florida, Harper Murray, the freshman with the cannon for an arm, and the middles were switching back and forth on both sides. But she had Lexi Rodriguez on her side as her libero defensive specialist. So when you look at it like that, you've got potentially 4 starters on one side, whereas on the other side, you had Kennedy Orr, who has been here for 3 years and was the number one setter, number one recruit in her class, with Lindsay Krause, who is more than likely going to be one of the starting outsides. And then she also had Hayden Kubik. And those two got a bulk of the balls set to them as Lindsay Krause finished. You ready for this? 58 swings.
Yeesh. She had a ton in one set, correct?
Oh yeah, she had like
it was close
swings.
to a record.
So in a 3-set match, and I was looking. Shout out to Amy Just for looking this up. I was sitting next to her. In a single three game match, the record was 41, I believe, or 51. And in a 4-set match, it's 62. And she finished with 38 in 3 sets. I believe 38, somewhere around there, and 58 in the 4-set, match that they had.
So, okay, I want to go back to the setter real quickly because it's Bergen Riley or Kennedy Orr, correct? Right?
It's between those two, both the number one setters in their class. Bergen is a freshman this year. Kennedy is a sophomore, but a junior at school. Well, she's been here for 3 years.
So that's what I wanted to get to because so statistics wise on the red-white scrimmage, Bergen Riley has 36 assists while Kennedy Orr has 29. And that's where we have this conversation so often where it's Husker volleyball is just the revolving door of incredible and elite talent.
It's true.
And it's one of those where, you might play this one year, but guess what? We're having the number one recruiting class come in next year. And the number one recruit in this case, Bergen Riley, is going to be competing with you for your spot. What does this mean for a player like Kennedy Orr? Because you think about her career, she comes in as the number one player in the country out of Minnesota.
Yes.
Out of the state of Minnesota. But comes in as the number one player in the country, Kennedy Orr, that is, and struggles to find a rhythm. Obviously, Nicklin Hames was finishing out what we were kind of expecting to be somewhat her last year 2 years ago. But then, so you understand, okay, there's going to kind of have not an understudy role, but basically learn from Nicklin Hames, who is, as we all know, incredibly successful. And then the following year, You have Nicklin Hames make the decision to come on back before beginning her coaching career.
Yep.
And that kind of leaves Kennedy Orr in this, like she's going to get an opportunity. And Nicklin Hames also is going to be there and be present, understandably so. And she's been running the Nebraska offense for volleyball the last 5 years. Now, this year, it's not that Kennedy's going to have a walk-in to the starting job.
Nope.
But here comes Bergen Riley, who, once again, that revolving door, the number one player in the country, comes in and, as we saw on Saturday, is making quite the case to start.
Yeah, it's just a hard thing to deal with, as Kennedy Orr, when she came in as a freshman, she was going to be competing, but she wasn't going to get that starting role. As you said, Nicklin Hames was entering what would have been her final season had COVID not messed everything up. So Kennedy kind of had to deal with that, got hurt, had the knee injury, had to sit out that entire year, came back, was kind of nursing the knee injury, and was battling with, and now I'm spacing on her name. She transferred to San Diego.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's somebody on the text line.
No,
will help us out.
We'll be able to find it.
Somebody will help us out. But she was battling with her for that setter position because Nicklin was supposed to be, as she was coming into her final year after COVID, she was supposed to be just a defensive specialist. Yeah, Ani Evans. So it was Ani Evans and Kennedy Orr battling for that starting setter position. Nicklin Hames was going to be a defensive specialist, but Ani and Kennedy were struggling so that Nicklin got inserted back into that lineup, et cetera, and they were running a 6-2. So they were having two setters come in and just kind of doing their thing, but Nicklin and Ani ended up getting the starting roles for that. And now without Nicklin, without Ani, it was thought to be, maybe Kennedy would be able to take that step forward. And she worked so much in the offseason, didn't play sand volleyball because she was working on her setting. She looked really good in the exhibition match against Wichita State and Central City. She looked really good in Brazil. But Bergen Riley, with the experience that she has, I understand that she's just a freshman, but playing on the senior world team down in Brazil during the school year, being the only one on her team doing schoolwork while everybody was out doing whatever they were doing. She just has all of that experience, and she's very mature for her age, and just the way that she sets the ball looks extremely effortless, no matter where she is on the court, no matter where her feet are, whether they're planted, whether she's up in the air, whatever she does, everything looks so smooth when she does it that it's not that it's unfair. It's just going to be hard for Kennedy to combat that. And I understand she was the number one recruit, the number one setter in her class, but Bergen she just looks so much better.
Well, and as a lot of people know, even just a common volleyball fan that doesn't know a whole lot about the sport, the setter is potentially the most important spot on the floor, and it's the most it's the most difficult to transition, right? And that's why it's such a discussion point of this transition from Nicklin, who was a staple, right? And had such good chemistry with all of her teammates, to now transition it. You can't just throw somebody out there each and every game and expect it to go smooth sailing.
And that's not going to work. That's why Coach Cook likes to run his 5-1, where you have one setter out there who's going to knows, where the middles, where the outsides, where everybody wants the ball, in what position, all that stuff to get a good swing on it, as opposed to switching setters in and out. And maybe somebody has a favorite target that they like to go to more often than not, but sometimes you need to switch things up. You want to go with the quick in the middle. You want to go across the court. You want to, run a slide. They're going to have to set backwards behind their head. Whatever they're going to have to do, you have to be comfortable doing all of that. And right now it looks like Bergen Riley is the most suited for that spot. Could be wrong. When that first game comes along, John Cook could have seen something totally different and go with Kennedy Orr. But from what I saw in the exhibition, in the couple videos that I saw from Brazil, and in last night's 2 nights ago scrimmage, Bergen Riley looks like the more ready person to be the setter come starting the first game. And it's going to be really fun to see the outsides as well, because you have Harper Murray being ready looks like she's ready as a freshman with a cannon for an arm. Merritt Beeson transferring over from Florida, looks like she's going to play all 6 rotations and be that athlete for Nebraska volleyball. And then Lindsey Krause, who kind of an up and down career so far, but when she's on. This season, again, not make or break. I don't want to say anything like that for anybody, but she looked so consistent over the exhibition and in Brazil and now in the red-white scrimmage. She was off a little bit, hitting negative for a while, but then switched things up. Granted, she took 58 swings, but when she was making contact, she was making solid contact, was up there on the net, blocking shots. The block is something that you can be extremely excited for Nebraska volleyball. There's going to be a lot of roof chanting in the Bob Devaney Sports Complex this year. And I feel like Lindsay Krause, although they're trying to make that transition from having her on the opposite to the right side, she's confident and ready to play either position.
Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line, both open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951. Okay, let's transition to football here. Once again, we're going to be joined. Lincoln Arneal will join us tomorrow at 1:30 to talk Husker volleyball. Today we have Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska, the Rivals site for the Huskers. He'll join us at 1:30 to talk his thoughts on Nebraska's fall camp and then just getting you guys ready, because we are 10 days away from Nebraska football kicking things off against Minnesota up in Minneapolis. And so we definitely want to get our thoughts. One of the big things that I do want to talk about coming up here in the next few minutes is the running back situation, because we all know what Anthony Grant did last year. And the reason I bring this up, now remember just a couple days ago, or maybe by a week and a half at this time, we heard the staff talk about there's going to be some committee approach out of the backfield, right? But we heard it also where Strick always trying to mess things up. But anyway, as we talked about, we heard it on Saturday. Matt Rule said that Gabe Ervin is the clear-cut number one running back, and that Anthony Grant's just fumbling too much. And if you watched last year with Anthony Grant, this might come as somewhat of a surprise, because looking just at the numbers, Anthony Grant fumbled 3 times all of last season, a season where he carried the ball, I think, about 220 times, maybe a few shy of that, for just over 900 yards for Nebraska.
I'd like to say it's a pretty good ratio, 220 plus to 3.
Exactly. So, and he only lost one of the fumbles, right? You also remember that in the first 3 games that Nebraska played against Northwestern, North Dakota, and Georgia Southern, that he did not have a single run of negative yards in those first 3 games.
Which was impressive, because he was getting met in the backfield a lot during those games.
You can also add to this conversation, and it's going to start out sounding like I'm a big Anthony Grant stan, that I'm disappointed.
You're a big Gabe Ervin guy.
I'm a big Gabe Ervin guy, but this is what we saw last year from Anthony Grant, was that in those first 3 games that now I have the statistics pulled up, he carries the rock against Northwestern 19 for 101. Against North Dakota, he carried it 23 times for 189. And then against Georgia Southern, he carried it 27 times for 138 yards. Now, remember what we were saying going into last season is that everybody was longing for a running back that can, number one, be durable enough to where they get the staff can hand it off to him 20 plus times in a game, and he's effective. Well, for the first 3 games, Anthony Grant was that, where he goes over 100 yards in the first 3 games. 4 out of the first 5 games, he exceeds 100 yards on the ground. And then you're like, all right, cool. Anthony Grant's kind of Nebraska's guy. But I think one thing we saw last year is we're hearing this idea that Anthony Grant kind of, fell off towards the end of the season. And I think more so defenses got better and Nebraska's offensive line did not. Defenses got way better when you're facing off against Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin. And Nebraska's offensive line, as we know, did not get that much better over the course of last season.
Now, it is just throwing me for a loop. Like, when he says that Gabe Ervin's the clear-cut number one, it's just that Anthony's fumbling too much. I understand that fumbling is a massive part of the game. Ball security is a massive part of the game. But outside of that, to be the clear-cut number one, you've got to be doing things much better than Anthony Grant is doing things. And that's, I guess, not terribly surprising, considering we saw what Gabe Ervin was able to do in the few amount of carries that he was able to get as a true freshman who earned the starting role when he first got to Nebraska. But again, after what Anthony did last season, only having 3 fumbles and 200 plus carries, we'll just call it that, To be the clear cut, to not be the clear cut number one, or to not even have, there's a possibility that one person could possibly get this starting role over the other. That is surprising to me.
I am curious on what it means. It feels a lot like the Joshua Fleek situation when we hear Matt Rule come out and say, yeah, he's the clear-cut number one and Anthony Grant's just fumbling too much.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a lot like the Joshua Fleek situation, to where he's significantly over his weight, and then a few days later he's on campus and part of the team.
Mm-hmm. And practicing, not like he had to recover from massive weight loss.
That's where it feels a lot like that, to where I wish we would know a number associated with how often is Anthony Grant fumbling, right? Because if I don't even know if I want to say this. If the standard or expectation is not a single fumble throughout all of practice, and Anthony Grant has 2 or 3, well, then I understand that that's not the expectation, but that's not as bad as maybe it sounds or seems when you hear Anthony Grant's fumbling the ball way too much.
Yeah, that makes it,
when you don't put a quantity to it, it sometimes loses credibility.
When you hear that, I just automatically think every other carry is a fumble.
Yeah.
I'm just fumbling way too much. That's terrible. That's awful.
Yeah.
He must be fumbling all the time. He must not be able to hold on to the ball at all. And Gabe Ervin hasn't fumbled a single time. When in reality, and again, not in reality, but there's a possibility that Gabe has also fumbled a few times. But Anthony maybe there's certain plays where, maybe it shouldn't be that difficult and he's fumbling. Maybe, there have just been a few instances where not only does he fumble, but he loses it.
Yeah.
It's something like that. So just hearing he's fumbling way too much and Gabe Ervin's the clear-cut number one is just jarring.
I would expect that we will get to see a glimpse into practice tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. or so. And with that, I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on the running backs, right? There's going to be a lot of just eyes on offensive line, as it usually is, but especially running backs, because now, and the coaching staff has kind of alluded to this, is that now this is kind of the week where depth charts start to get figured out, right? Week 3 or week 4. Either way, whichever week we're on right now. They're all blended together, but this is the week where, all right, you figure out depth charts and you figure out who's going to be number 1, who's going to be number 2, and stuff like that. So those pairings between, all right, who's Jeff Sims handing the ball off to and who's Chubba Purdy handing the ball off to, that's where that's going to come into play just a little bit more, maybe so than week 1, when a lot of the true freshmen and guys were getting enough opportunities and ample opportunities that we were talking about. So,
also, people, stop asking Matt Rule about the depth chart.
You don't like asking about depth
chart? People keep asking about the depth chart. He's been asked way too many times. That's what he said.
Yeah.
They'll release a depth chart when they're good and ready.
I would assume they'll probably release a depth chart here in the coming days.
More than likely.
So, and Nebraska fans love it. Nebraska fans love seeing whether it's 1 and 2 or 1 or another one.
Everybody loves ors.
Nebraska had a lot of or. I can't remember.
I saw an NFL reporter said this is the first time he's ever seen or on a depth chart, and in reference to some NFL team's depth chart. And it's like, oh, have you never seen a college depth chart? Because ors live on college depth charts.
And if you look at Nebraska's last year against Northwestern in Ireland,
or
there was a lot of ors.
A lot of ors.
PJ Fleck would have been wild.
He would have loved it.
It would have been crazy.
Do you think he just puts ors on his depth chart just because he loves ors?
Spelled differently. Definitely not. 402-464-5684. Yeah, just so many ors. 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, and the Starter Heyman text line, both open for you guys. The entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951 as well. Let's take a break. We ask Steve Marik, my fellow Cubs fan as well, about the Cubs. I have while we're on this, actually, we can go ahead and do this real quick.
Can we?
Yes, because we can bring Steve into this. So the Angels, right? By the way, you remember when they did not trade Shohei Ohtani at the deadline at the start of this month?
I do remember that. Yeah,
they elected because they wanted to be buyers. So they and push for the playoffs.
Okay.
So they trade for Lucas Giolito from the White Sox. They get a lefty arm. Then they also get CJ Cron and Randall Grichuk, two starters from the Colorado Rockies.
Sounds good.
So they're buyers. They don't get anything. They don't trade anybody away.
Yep.
They are 5-13 since the trade deadline, and now they are 4th place in their division.
Great job.
Yeah. So not a good decision. It felt like the Cubs last year with Wilson Contreras decided not to trade him off, and then be like, yeah, you know what? We're not going to worry about signing you at the deadline or in free agency either. So, but hey, the Cubs are in the thick of it. 3 games back. We're good. So anyway, let's take a break. Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska joins us next.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're counting on your team to win. So why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bet, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Lane's Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career, or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Are you ready to upgrade your combine? Don't wait. Act now to choose from the widest selection of used combines at Acres Equipment. Acres, Nebraska's leading John Deere combine dealer, is offering 2.9% interest for 60 months on over 100 pre-owned combines. Each combine includes our A-plus uptime program to keep you running flawlessly throughout harvest season. Go to acres.com to view a huge inventory of low-hour, late-model equipment. Find what you like, and we'll deliver it to your farm for free. Acres, solutions for every field.
There's a buzz in the air at Kansas as drivers fight to move on to the next round of the playoffs. NASCAR Playoffs weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 8th through the 10th. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com.
IT projects piling up again? Managing IT can definitely be frustrating. Whether you have an in-house IT department or you manage it yourself, let Hamilton be your experts. At Hamilton, we take the frustration out of your business tech issues with managed IT solutions. We specialize in co-managed and fully managed IT. Does your business need better managed IT? Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you, your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com. Member FDIC.
Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery, Online at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
For Sean Jackson for Brant Excavating. Brant's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brant is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brant Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrantExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brant Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Brant!
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Nick is here. What'd you call him earlier?
Yeah, he had a name. He said a name.
Can you hear Nick?
I said you look like a big swimming pool. You look like a big swimming pool over there. I called you Big Swim.
All right. Should I tell the people what you called me the second week that I ever coached you?
Don't hang that over my
There's a
head.
track record here.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I vomited last night.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I literally vomited. I threw up.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back here on the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick and Rico joining you guys as usual. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line, the phone number to call and text the rest of the way here. And let's go ahead and you know it's football season, and you know we're getting close or in the middle of it when we bring our good friend Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska, the rival site for the Huskers, on the show. Steve, it's been a long time, man. How's life treating you?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Life is good. It's really hot outside, but I don't think I'm the only one that's noticed that. But I think football is starting to get in the air, so it's exciting me and exciting everybody else. So it's a fun time of year right now, although it's kind of weird because it's so close but yet so far away, right?
Yeah, 10 days till kickoff. Before we dive into football, another thing that's pretty hot right now, the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so let me get this one out of the way. Friday's loss to the Royals was embarrassing, and I really hated it. But it was good to see them get those last two wins against the struggling Royals. But, let's just hope Milwaukee can start losing some games and Cincinnati start losing some games so the good old Cubbies can kind of leapfrog the Brewers there. So, that's where I'm at with Chicago. It's a fun team to watch. They have my hopes up and down all season. But, I'm along for the ride. So wherever they're going, I'm following.
Hey, Steve, I don't care that my team sucks. Your team still sucks.
I think your team sucks, Rico.
Well,
You're not wrong.
I was saying this before the show, is that you look at the Cubs stretch that they've kind of just went through recently. It's the White Sox, the Royals, the Tigers, and the Pirates. That's their 4 straight series of teams. I mean, you couldn't ask for something more when you're trying to make, not number one, make up ground and then also pull away from a team like the Cincinnati Reds than getting the White Sox, Royals, Tigers, and Pirates.
Yeah, you need like this. I was texting with a friend earlier about this, and this is just such a huge stretch. They need to take advantage of this. So when I saw that Friday afternoon loss to Kansas City, I was just like, man, guys, what are you doing? We can't afford to do this. So let's just sweep the Royals. Let's sweep the Tigers. Let's sweep the Pirates and then head on to that series against Milwaukee starting August 28th.
Careful now. The White Sox are tricky. They might get a couple games from you.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm following my guys. Guys.
Bobby Witt's good at baseball, though.
Oh my gosh, he had a play. I know we're here to talk football.
No,
but
it's
he
all
had
right.
a play last afternoon at shortstop. He was, I believe, like right next to second base, and there was like a pop up on the left field out of bounds, and boy, he sprinted his butt off to get there and made an absolutely incredible sliding grab. It was really, really cool. But Royals lost, so I was happy about it. But hey, Bobby Witt Jr. really good.
Really good at baseball. It is going to be interesting to see if the Royals re-sign him because they're only paying about $730,000 for him right now, but he was probably going to get around 7 years, $105 million in his next contract. I think
he's going to be doing good in the bank account.
Exactly. All right, so Steve, let's dive into football here. So we're 10 days out, and Nebraska head coach Matt Rule kind of said it on Saturday that Gabe Ervin is the number one or clear-cut number one running back, and that Anthony Grant's just been fumbling too much. I was just telling Rico last segment, this feels a lot like the Joshua Fleek situation, to where he comes out, Matt Rule that is, and says, all right, yeah, he's significantly over his weight. And then we come to find out that a few days later, he was back with the team and practicing and all good to go. It just, I wonder at times, okay, how much is Anthony Grant fumbling?
Yeah. So when I heard that, obviously with Rule and Grant, one thing that came through my mind was, everything is intentional with Matt Rule and how he runs his program. He's like a CEO who has his fingertips on everything that the program puts out, from on the field, how they're playing the players, to off the field with social media and what the team chooses to present to its fan base on the internet. He also uses the media too, I think. And, sometimes you see coaches here and there do that with some of their own players where, like take Rule, for example, he steps up to the podium and he didn't have to say anything about Anthony Grant's fumble problems recently, but he sure did. And so maybe that's a technique that Rule likes to use when wanting to, maybe make a point to a certain player about something. It's like, and, Rule followed it up with, look, I mean, I could not have said this about Anthony Grant's football issues, but I did. And, he knows that. So everybody knows that Anthony Grant needs to hold on to the ball, but Rule taking it a step further and using the media to maybe make a point to help that player along, maybe to drill through his head that he needs to improve in an area. I think that's absolutely intentional. So, you see that from here and there, like I said before, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are you guys honestly worried about Anthony Grant's fumble issues? I mean, to me, I don't think so. I don't think he had a big problem of it last year, but it's something that I think that Matt Rule is kind of using the media and to make a point to one of his players. But I'm not overly, I guess, worried about Anthony Grant and his ability to hold on to the ball. Maybe I'm wrong on that. What do you guys think?
And that's where I mean, Rico and I had this conversation last segment. Anthony Grant had 3 fumbles last year. Nebraska lost one of them. But it was also interesting because you look at like the makeup of Nebraska's running back room the last few years, and everybody knows that Gabe Ervin won the starting job in 2021, but then obviously gets hurt, and Ramir Johnson comes up out of nowhere, and then Anthony Grant comes in, wins the starting job, starts out his first 3 games, rushes for over 100 yards and such. And I think towards the end of the year, the defenses just got better. It's not that Anthony Grant fell off. I think the defenses got better, and Nebraska's offensive line just didn't improve a whole lot to help them out against the Michigans, like they were able to push around North Dakota and maybe even Northwestern in the first game of the year. So I think I'm with you, or we're with you on this. Anthony Grant doesn't really have a huge fumbling issue, at least of what we saw last year through, their 12 games, losing 3. I think he had over 215 carries in 2022. So, I mean, I guess that's just kind of where we're at. There's not really a question there, but there's just kind of a thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I hate to be the guy that watches those little highlight clips, that the team puts out, but one of Anthony Grant's fumbles was caught on camera, and it was Josh Bullock knocking the ball loose. So that was kind of cool if you were aiming to watch that thing to see what the defense was doing, flying around and knocking balls out of hands. But so that was really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I still really like Nebraska's running back room. Rule obviously does. Gabe Ervin obviously has a lot to prove this year. He needs to stay healthy to be able to show the kind of potential that he has. And, I'm not worried about Anthony Grant and fumbling. I'm just not, and Ramir Johnson, I think he can be a valuable asset back there as kind of that Jermichael Hasty. If some Baylor Bears fans out there remember that name, he was a really good running back that Rule kind of gave a shout out and compared him to Ramir Johnson as what those two can kind of do out of the backfield is similar. So, I'm still really, really high on Nebraska's running back room, but obviously none of the words that we're saying and things that we're talking about will matter unless the offensive line kind of does its job up front.
Quick plug to Jermichael Hasty. He helped me win a week of fantasy football last year when I needed a backup running back really fast. Just picked him up. It was fantastic. But we're speaking with Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska. Steve, you mentioned, you don't want to be the guy that watches the highlight tapes and tries to pick apart every little thing. But just to kind of go on one of those, Jalen Lloyd is being featured a decent amount in a lot of these videos, and with Marcus Washington still being sidelined for a while, maybe not going to make the first game. Do you see Jalen Lloyd or another one of those freshman wide receivers playing a decently big role against Minnesota?
Yeah, so when Jalen Lloyd's name started kind of popping up with coaches' interviews and stuff, I almost didn't want to believe it, because I know, he's a true freshman. Nothing against Jalen Lloyd. I'm sure he's a great kid and he's an incredible athlete. We know he's an incredible athlete by looking at his track stuff. But 5'10", 160 pounds, like that does not kind of scream game changer or contributor even at the Division I level at receiver. It just seems really hard for me that somebody like Jalen Lloyd is going to come off the street and, perform like that after one fall camp and then, earn reps with the first team offense. But sure enough, he's been out there. He's been in those brief highlights that the team puts out. And he's, like you said, he's been making really, really good looking catches. I mean, in the last video that the last scrimmage highlight video that the team put out, he had two really nice looking catches along the sideline. One of them from Heinrich Harburg, the other from Jeff Sims, and the one from Sims, I believe, Jalen was kind of falling out of bounds, and he did an excellent job at getting 2 feet down in bounds. It was right next to the sideline, and he kind of toe dragged and brought the rubber up to show it was in bounds. It was really, really a nice catch. So maybe I'm wrong, and Jalen Lloyd is athletic enough and is a strong enough receiver that he can step onto the field after one fall camp and kind of show out and be a contributor. I'm not saying he's going to be like one of the first guys out there with the first team offense, but I think he's for sure a name that you can find in the 2 deep at receiver right now, and he's going to be asked to be a contributor. But also, Malachi Coleman, everybody's going to be watching him. I'm really interested to see if he can put everything together and get out there and help out the offense. My sleeper pick kind of is Jaden Doss, just because he can, he worked out of the slot a lot at Raymond Peculiar High School in Missouri, and he can do a lot of different things. He has experience in the slot, out wide, in the backfield, taking handoffs. He can just do a lot of different things at him. And at 5'11", 195, 190 pounds, he's kind of built better than a lot of the other freshmen in his age and his size, I guess. So maybe that means he's better equipped for playing a little bit early in his career. But somebody out of that group, or two guys out of that group, is going to have to step up and kind of help out this offense, because overall, with Marcus Washington, you obviously don't want to see him, we're struggling to get healthy and stay healthy in fall camp. So you really want to see Marcus Washington out there. But if he's not, those true freshmen, somebody's gonna have to step up. And I think there's a couple in there that could do it, and I think they can be good doing it too.
Now, Steve, let's combine the wide receiver and tight ends room and just talk about pass catchers on this team, because I'm a little curious on where you stand with just overall thoughts on them. Joshua Fleeks, obviously, I think he's had like 9 catches his last 2 years of college. We know Xavier Betts moved on from the program. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda left early last year. Borkacher had just 6 if you want to bring in tight ends. Thomas Fidoni hasn't been healthy. Where are we at just on this? We talked about running backs, and we know the staff is going to, cross our fingers and hope that Nebraska runs the ball and tries to run it right at Minnesota. But in the times that they do need to pass and they need Jeff Sims to deliver a ball, where do you just stand on overall thoughts on pass catchers on this team?
Well, I've said it before, and I continue to think that Billy Kemp, he's my pick to lead the team in receptions, not receiving yards, but receptions, just because, he's played out of the slot, and I know he's done some outside work, and he's even lined up in the backfield during his Virginia days. But I really just see him as kind of like that short yardage or that short area, intermediate area passing game target that can be kind of like a safety blanket for Jeff Sims. Somewhere where he can just complete an easy 5-yard pass and just let Billy go to work, because in short areas, Billy Kemp is super quick. He's super shifty. He can just do a lot in short areas. I don't think he's going to be winning many foot races. He's kind of a small guy, but he's built well. He's thicker, but I just don't think speed is his best asset. But his shiftiness and his quickness, that's a real asset that I think Marcus Satterfield knows and understands how to use during his days calling plays at South Carolina. He had kind of like some Billy Kemp type players that over there with the Gamecocks. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you look at the wide receiver room, there's just not a lot that jumps out at you. And like I said, with Marcus Washington being on the shelf now and not practicing, working to get healthy, I mean, that's not great either. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of holes with the receiver room. It's not a room that kind of blows you away. And with talking about the tight ends too, I mean, yeah, it's fun to talk about Thomas Fidone and it's fun to talk about a Reek Gilbert, but you know, we don't know what Thomas Fidone is going to look like really. I mean, we have the image, this picture in our minds that this 6'6", 250-pound freak athlete, you know, he's finally healthy and he's going to get out there and he's going to tear it up. I'm not so sure. I think it might take a few games, you know, to get out there and have Thomas get in the swing of things and feel comfortable playing in a Big Ten game against Big Ten athletes with Big Ten speed. So, you know, I'm not saying that Thomas Fidone is not going to be productive right away, but it wouldn't shock me if we have to wait a little bit for Thomas to kind of get out there, get in the swing of things. With the Reed Gilbert, obviously everybody wants him to play, but we just don't know right now if he's going to play. And if he does play, what's he going to look like? He hasn't looked like himself since 2020 when he was a freshman All-SEC conference member at LSU. You know, he looked like one of the best tight ends in the SEC his true freshman year. He was just doing incredible stuff. It was really fun to watch, but then he had some off the field troubles and he hasn't played the past 2 seasons at Georgia outside of a few games and a few catches. So there's so many questions. Out of everybody in the tight end room, I have to look at, you know, a guy like Nate Borkature as kind of the most dependable guy. And nothing against Nate, but you know, he's a former walk-on who has done a heck of a job building his body and getting better over years. So it's a credit to him. But you know, he's just a really solid run blocking tight end who can help out in the pass game for sure. But there's just, you know, so when I look at the tight end room, it's a high ceiling, but low returning production. So again, those are big questions that they're just going to have to answer on Saturdays that I can't tell you right now. So, you know, again, I like some of the pieces in that tight end room, but until they show me, it's just kind of hard to predict what they're going to do or how well they're going to do.
All right, Steve. Hey, good stuff as always. Appreciate the time. And we will definitely talk to you next week. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
There he is, Steve Marik, inside Nebraska, the rival site for the Huskers. He joined us on the Allo VIP line. The VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where we understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, Michigan and Jim Harbaugh have figured out the penalty for their head coach for lying to investigators about recruiting violations. We'll talk about those and get Strick and Austin's thoughts when we come back with the crossover. You're listening to the Happy Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com. Visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum. Where can you see breathtaking aerobatics and your favorite ticket personalities all at the same time? How about the Lincoln Guardian of Freedom Air Show at Lincoln Air Park on August 26th and 27th? Fly by our booth in the media tent to see your favorite hosts and former Huskers from the ticket. We'll see you there.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. SCC's Career Days will provide you with a hands-on experience as you learn alongside SCC faculty and students and industry partners. Explore careers in healthcare, construction, ag, automotive, manufacturing, engineering, power sports, transportation, or technology. See your options at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
If your car has sent you to the sidelines, Eustace Body Shop can help. With gold-class certified technicians, OEM parts, and free loaner cars, Eustace Body Shop is your best choice this Husker season. And with 6 locations across central and eastern Nebraska, we've got you covered, whether you're rooting at home or you're headed to Memorial Stadium. Get a free online quote at EustaceBodyShop.com, and let's get you back in the game.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Keep summer green with Judson Baleen and Judson Irrigation. More than 40 years ago, Judson Irrigation started taking in orphans. Lawn sprinkler systems installed by a quickie, cheapy summer job, install them and forget them outfit, long forgotten. Call Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving. Go cardio crazy in our clean and spacious clubs, or get down with some dumbbells and strength equipment. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month. It's glow time. See Club for details.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see some patchy fog possible this morning. Otherwise, it'll be sunny, breezy, and very hot. See a high around 104. Tonight, clear skies and warm overnight lows 75 are expected. And tomorrow, more sunshine, another very hot day. We'll see a high around 105. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
This is a house of learned doctors.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Close your eyes. I'm going to punch you square in the face.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Happy Hour 93.7 theticketfm.com. Nick, Rico, and Austin are all with you guys. Hello, gentlemen.
What up?
How we doing? How was the weekend?
Lovely.
Do anything
How's
exciting,
yours?
Strick?
It got hot.
Did you do anything exciting?
No.
Okay, that's
no,
good.
no. Well, I did go to see. You guys are familiar with Chris Rock, I'm sure. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to.
Actually,
see,
I have no idea who that is.
Went to see Tony Rocket's
Will's
brother.
Okay.
comedy
name.
show. Yeah. The comedy show.
Was that in Omaha? Nice.
Snuck in there just last minute. Me and
snuck in.
my Tuesday partner, Clester Johnson. WTF on Tuesdays at 8
His favorite partner.
Did
let's
you
be
just
honest.
like walk in the back door like you guys were just like,
You didn't
hey,
say
you know
anything.
who we are?
No,
I'm sorry, Austin.
It's one of those place that place like that can be kind of funny, right?
Side door.
Because everybody has to kind of wait, and the longer you are down the stairs, you can end up outside. So it was kind of hot, but there's like an elevator there too.
Oh, did you get in the elevator?
So no.
Oh, okay.
But there are people that try to skirt the line
Skirt.
situation by trying to go up the elevator
Oh.
and put you in. And I always say, if you come out of the elevator and I'm right there, trouble.
Trouble.
That's not a good look. But what ended up happening is the people that we were with were like towards the front. So it was a group of us. So they waved and we're like, okay, we out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went and
You
got
guys
with
were
our
cutters?
group. We went and got with our group because there's not assigned seating. So they want you to kind of be
Oh,
with.
first
So there
come,
was 8
first-
of us.
got
Yeah.
it.
So there was a group of 8. So me, Cluster, and our group, we went up there and got with them, and we had our 8 together.
Front row?
So yeah. No. I'm glad too, because he was clowning.
That's the point. You want to go up there, become part of the show.
No.
You met up on a TikTok video.
He was clowning. He
Good.
was clowning.
What would he have clowned you about?
What was funny? I don't know.
What's he
But
gonna say? What's he
what
gonna
was
say to you?
Funny though is he talked about the Will Smith stuff, and in talking about the Will Smith stuff, he basically was like, "It ain't over."
Of course, it's not.
He's like, he said, whether I catch him a month from now or 20 years from now, it's not over. And one time, he was like, he said he was doing something about. So just imagine it was 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Then he did something where it was like 20 years and he's like 8 and he acted like he used the chair like he was in a walking stick, like he was getting taken to jail in a walking, like with a walking, those
Worth
things.
it. Yeah, a walker.
The walker. It was absolutely hilarious. He's crazy. He's good.
Okay, that's crazy. Anyway, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Hammond text line.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Just chilling.
I just posted a picture of. So, do you guys remember back in 2019 when they announced this Go Big project? And Wandale Robinson, Scott Frost, and Bill Moose were all there.
Yep.
Well, I found a picture of all 3 of them, just the 3 of them
With their
in the
hard hats?
picture. They weren't in the hard hats, but it's kind of crazy how
Looks on their faces?
how it started, and now you're.
Do any of the 3 of them ever set foot inside that building?
No.
Never.
No.
Not even Scott.
And then
15 years down
there's
the
no
line?
like, and I didn't post it because like there's ill will. Like there's
It's
no
just
there's
funny.
no ill will with like Wandale, obviously, absolutely not. But it's funny just to see
It started with
how it
those 3.
started. Because remember, everybody freaked out because it was like, and I understand why. Because Wandale, if he would have stayed here 4 years, it would be done this year. However, everybody was like, "You're not going to have your starting quarterback, Adrian Martinez, up there. Why wouldn't you have Adrian up there?"
Yeah, Wandale's like, when I graduate from here, like I'll be able to. They said that I'll be able to, be a part of this and be in that building and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, that didn't happen.
So anyway,
I think they had a really good chance of retaining Wandale. I think that
they
they just were using him incorrectly.
Well, if he would have continued, not continued on the same pace, but if he were to have been used correctly, I don't think he would have been here for 4 years because he would have left after 3.
Like he did at Kentucky.
Yeah, he did.
So even then, he wouldn't have been able to play. He wouldn't have been, able to step foot in the building as a player because he would have been gone.
Yep, for the good reason though.
For a good reason.
For a good reason. Once again, 402-464-5685. Okay, guys, Michigan, and I want to talk about self-imposed
Trey Palmer?
bans. No.
Trey Palmer doing big things in the NFL for the Bucs right now.
He is.
That's what I was saying.
I want to talk about self-imposed bans, though, because we heard a couple weeks ago that, all right, Jim Harbaugh is going to be suspended 4 games. He's going to come back for the Nebraska game. great. It's okay. It's fine. It's the walk, it's a cupcake for the first 4 games and stuff for Michigan, no matter what. Now today it gets released that Michigan is imposing a self-ban of 3 games for Jim Harbaugh.
7 total?
No,
3,
just
3
because,
total.
okay, so the 4, the NCAA walked it back, and they're like, nah, no.
Yeah.
There's nothing
No,
here.
they turned it down.
They
said,
it
no,
down.
we're not accepting the 4.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They're not accepting
Yes.
the 4.
So now it is a self-imposed 3-game ban for Jim Harbaugh, which means he will return for the Rutgers game and then Nebraska.
Oh, crazy. He comes back for conference
He'll
games.
miss East Carolina, I know, is who Michigan starts out with. I don't know who their second and third games are.
Michigan's second
think,
game is UNLV. Their third game is Bowling Green.
Gotcha.
They better be careful they don't start 2-1. Bowling Green's
Or
tough.
1 and 2.
Nah,
Or
they'll be
0-3.
fine.
0-3.
Do you know how
Michigan starting
how
0-3
wild?
This
If
world
they
would be
lose-
upside
Harbaugh
down.
wants that, though. That is perfect leverage for him to get a lifetime contract.
If
If
they
they lose
lose-
all 3 games without him,
Or any of those games.
Yeah, that's true.
If they lose 1, that's
an interesting take.
That's grounds for like, you see what happens when I'm not there.
Michigan has decided to reinstate Jim Harbaugh a game early ahead of their game Saturday against Bowling Green.
if they're down at halftime to any of those teams, Harbaugh comes back.
Just wearing, I hope he comes back just wearing like a simple fake mustache.
It'll be
to where
him,
it's like
Jarbaugh.
so obvious. So where it's so obvious that it's Jim, and then but it's just a fake mustache.
no, I'm John. I'm John. I've always
I
been
promise.
John.
I'm John. I'm John.
That's our special teams
Go Ravens.
coordinator.
Speaking of the,
I think real quick, I think there's something that we need to maybe look into, and I don't know if I'll do it on our show, but we'll look into is the transfer portal is starting to have some small print things that people and young men aren't looking at, whether it's playing 3 seasons or different. There's some small print stuff that is starting to, if you're not getting these waivers or not able to obtain a waiver, they're kind of messing up people's eligibility out there.
Yeah, well, and speaking of the Ravens, real quickly, did you guys see the graphic that they've won 24 straight preseason games?
They don't lose in the
Sam
preseason.
Cosme don't care.
That's incredible.
They're really good at drafting for the preseason.
Hey, I do like J.K. Dobbins. Healthy J.K. Dobbins is fun to watch.
Oh,
for the Baltimore Ravens.
OBJ's solid out there?
Not there. Not there anymore.
OBJ was getting locked
I
up
don't
by
even know where he's at.
like a rookie corner for the Commanders, I believe is who it was.
Hey, but they still won.
They did.
Arizona Cardinals in trouble.
Always has been.
I was going to say really quick on Baltimore. It reminds me of the Royals being really good in spring training every year.
That's true.
Your Royals, darn near Cactus League champs, win like 15 games per spring training. And yeah, here they are better than the A's. So, watch out, Baltimore.
Okay, last thing before we get out of here. Do you guys see what Max Anderson's doing for single A for the Detroit Tigers?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I'm just pissed because I was watching
tearing
his
it
game
up.
against Paul Skeens, but the runner on first got picked off, so we didn't get Anderson versus Skeens.
That's right. He then hit a He hit a home run against their next pitcher.
I don't recall.
I can't remember. Either way, he's
Same
hitting.
thing would have happened.
He's hitting like 338 through 71 at bats. Okay, here's his statistics: 71 ABs, 24 hits, 2 home runs, 17 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. 338 batting average and 913 OPS.
What league is he playing in?
Single A.
There's 2
Lake.
of them.
That's above rookie ball, right?
It's above rookie ball.
I think he
So
started
he's
at low
he's in
A.
short season A.
Started at low A.
He's got to be up in New York because they didn't get full season or full spring training.
Yeah, no. So
he's
that's
got to be extended spring.
he's
probably up in
he's
New
on
York.
high A.
Oh, he is
technically.
already.
I believe so. With
Oh,
the
so
Lake,
he came in and joined the high.
He's
so
came
in
in.
Florida. What is he in the Arizona
Lakeland,
side? Or
right?
He's in
Oh,
Lakeland.
Yeah.
Lakeland.
That's Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lakeland Flying Tigers.
Yeah, so he just probably joined the long season A team down in the Florida State
Well, look,
league.
if the Angels are going to bring up their first round draft pick this year,
If
why
Dylan
doesn't
Cruz gets promoted,
why
not
doesn't
Max?
Detroit bring up Max? What else do you have to lose?
Yeah.
You don't get that year of service.
Yeah, they don't need it.
That's true. That's true.
I was thinking that's why they do it.
Yeah,
It's a free trial.
it is
essentially.
dumb.
Well, the Angels need answers.
That's true.
I said this in the last segment.
They're going to lose
Strick,
Ohtani.
Strick, get this.
He's done.
Strick, get this. So I've already told Rico and Austin this. The Angels were not sellers at the deadline. Actually qualified probably as buyers because they made 2 trades for people. They get a left-handed pitcher in Lucas Giolito from the Chicago White Sox at the deadline. They get CJ Crone, who had been an all-star,
Mm-hmm.
and Randall Gritchick, who's an outfielder from the Colorado Rockies, to boost their lineup and roster. They decide not to trade Shohei Ohtani because they're like, we're going to go all in on this playoff push. And they are 5 and 13 since the trade deadline. Fourth place in the AL West are the Los Angeles Angels.
They're safe in fourth, though. They're safe.
They are, because they have the 38-win Oakland Athletics behind them. But no, so that's what's crazy.
They can catch fire.
Is AL West, the Angels are 61 and 64, 8.5 games back behind the third place Mariners.
With like 37, 38 games.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
Right? So now you're going to be looking back at that in the offseason if/when the Angels don't make the playoffs and go, man, you wish you would have traded Shohei because you would have gotten so much. But now it's, what are you going to get for him? Nothing.
Man, you could have got so many draft picks.
Oh, yeah.
Not in the Major League Baseball.
Did they trade Trout too?
Can they? No, they still can because he's under contract still. I mean, if they're smart.
At that point,
or
if you're
him,
so mediocre with what you have, you might as well just unload and try to get.
Don't forget you got Rendon still.
Mm-hmm.
Still have Rendon as part of that roster. Is Andrelton Simmons? No, Andrelton Simmons is with the Rangers, isn't he?
Not with the Angels anymore.
Not with the Angels anymore. So anyway, what's coming up on the show today, gentlemen?
We got a lot of good stuff. You want to stay tuned for the next couple hours. We will kick it off with some Husker football headlines. Steve Kerr says Anthony Edwards is unquestionably the guy for Team USA.
Okay.
Dive into that, what that means. Gunnar Henderson decided to eschew the cycle for another double. We'll talk about it. And then we're just going to talk about the weather.
There you go. It's hot. Stay hydrated, folks. Stay hydrated, folks. That'll do
Sweet
it for us
Southern heat
here on the happy hour. Stick around. On the Block with Strick and Austin is coming up next. Thanks again to Steve Marik of Rivals for joining us at 1:30. Tomorrow, we talk a lot of Husker volleyball. Lincoln Arneal will join us to talk red-white scrimmage, get you ready for the Husker volleyball season, and obviously Husker football on the horizon as well. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See ya.
Adios.
Keep summer green with Judson Bylene and Judson Irrigation. More than 40 years ago, Judson Irrigation started taking orphans. Lawn sprinkler systems installed by a quick, cheapy summer job, install them and forget them outfit on cotton. Call Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or .com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. SCC's Career Days will provide you with a hands-on experience as you learn alongside SCC faculty and students and industry partners. Explore careers in healthcare, construction, ag, automotive, manufacturing, engineering, power sports, transportation, or technology. See your options at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Old School with DP and J.
They have the run and gun offense coming in, a new head coach that's been given the longest runway of any coach in Wisconsin, new coach in Wisconsin history, to change the program to Cincinnati way, and a new defensive philosophy. They're ripe for the picking.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Summer is winding down, but there's no reason to put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Sign up today for 9-hole leagues this fall, any day from Monday to Friday, starting on September 25th. Check out their deals on monthly membership